What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another one. Hope all is well. Have some information for you tonight, this evening, about this situation involving the young kid Carmelo Anthony. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, and we're gonna hear from someone that just gave his opinion on Texas and how they moved them so fast. But we're gonna give you a lot of information in regarding his situation right now. And so we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about an array of things here in regarding his case. We're going to talk about, more importantly, his appeal process. Some people had questions on different things regarding the appeal. How long would it take for him to get an appeal? How many years would this last before he, run out of situations? Even if he run out of appeal options, he still have action. Actually, he still have action, even if he run out of appeal. Now, what's gonna need to happen? However, his family raised money. I don't know if it's gonna be through another crowd fund or it's gonna be from a couple of people that said they were gonna donate. That got deep pockets. He's gonna need it. He's gonna need millions. Because if some people believe that he was wronged here, or they believe the system was corrupt, he's gonna need some relief, man. Okay, he's gonna need some relief. If you see the picture here, I said the protection in question. We're gonna get into somebody that was talking about what could possibly happen to him in there. But I have information on the Wallace Pack unit as well. So we're gonna learn about that today as well. The Wallace Pack unit. It's not that bad of a place considering where he could have ended up in Texas. The Wallace Pack unit is known for a few things, especially with his situation involving his health. That's one of the places he should go to then, being that he does take medicine for his epilepsy. So Wallace Pack unit is known for that, but they're also known for other stuff too. So we're going to get into the some of the notorious things that happen at the Wallace Pack unit over the years. So we're going to get into that as well. There's a lot of information, but it'll some of your questions will get answered in a little bit. For those who's watching the rebroadcast, or if people didn't do so already, please give us a like. Also subscribe. Also comment as well, because that gives us information for new videos. That gives us inspiration for new videos. Because they had questions that I couldn't answer at the time. So I have attorney friends as well. So all I gotta do is text them. And in fact, he said, "Man, he said he need to be charging me, for this information." And but some stuff I can just research on my own. But I just want to know for certain if that's what it is, and I always get confirmation. Before I get into all this information, something happened here with this lady here. Something happened with this lady here. Um, she's a Texas parole supervisor. She was reportedly fired after writing on her Facebook that she didn't give a F about the family's loss and seemed to celebrate the pain of Austin Metcalf's family after his murder was given a lengthy prison sentence. The latest episode fueling a debate in the suburbs of Dallas that's drawn attention of celebrities and advocates nationwide. Her name is Donna Robinson. It says she was fired this past Friday, from her job she held at the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for more than a decade after making inflammatory comment about Carmelo Anthony case, the Dallas Morning News first reported. Robinson posted that she was glad we didn't have to bury another black child and said Anthony would be protected in prison. So we're going to talk about that as well, saying he would be protected in prison. Anthony, a 19-year-old who is black, was found guilty, as we know, of murder. And it sparked a lot of debates online and different things like that. But figures like Cardi B and other people had a lot to say about this case already. So we know, but she lost her gig. So that's what's going on with that lady right there. So said it said she did on a Facebook post. All right. What do I think about that? I don't know what to think about. I mean, hey man, she felt strongly about it. Enough to lose her gig. Whether she knows she put it on Facebook, somebody's gonna see it and report her. Well, we're gonna first talk about now. This is the Wallace Pack Unit. We're gonna get into this area soon. We're gonna talk about the Wallace Pack Unit and different things you might need to know about that. Is another photo of the Wallace Pack Unit. First thing first, though, we're gonna talk about Carmelo appeals rights. We're gonna talk about that. First thing is, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody doing well. You said good thing she wasn't on the jury. You said she should have kept that to herself. She did it on Facebook. She sure did. She did on Facebook. But we're gonna get into some other things. We're gonna talk about on this. We're gonna talk about some things that you need to know. We're trying to educate ourselves over here on what is gonna happen with this kid. So the first thing first is the latest reports on Carmelo Anthony has already filed a notice of appeal after being convicted of murder and sentenced to 35 years. Now, news outlets reported that he requested for a court appointed appellate lawyer, confirming that he could not afford one and that he was transferred into the Texas state custody at the Wallace Pack Unit. Now, yeah, so he's saying that he's indigent. He doesn't have a job. He doesn't have much money. I'm talking about him personally. I'm not talking about his parents. Him personally don't have much money. So yes, he have to as of right now though, he has to hire an appellate attorney by way of court appointed appellate attorney. Somebody specializing in the appellate process. So that's what he's doing. It doesn't mean that he can't switch lawyers in the future. He can. But right now, he's trying to get the ball rolling. So, because he requested for an appointed lawyer, the trial court will decide whether he qualifies. If approved, an appellate attorney is appointed. That's how it works. The appellate record is prepared. That's the next step. Okay. This indicates the clerk record and trial transcript because that lawyer is going to need it. This matters because an appeal is not a new trial. The appeals court mostly reviews what already happened in court: objections, jury instructions, evidence rulings, constitutional issues, and whether the law was applied correctly. So that's what they're looking for in the appeals process. It's not to bring up new evidence. You know, people say, well, here's the video and stuff like, no, that's not what the appeals is for. However, if they can prove that there was a video out there that could exonerate him and it was purposely left out of the jury's hands, he has action there. But the appeals is not normally for you to bring forth new evidence to show your innocence. That's not it. He has to prove that there's an issue there with the evidence and the jury didn't see everything possible to exonerate him. Therefore, it violated his constitutional rights to a fair trial. Now, so everybody know this now about the appeal. That's it with the appeal. Okay, that's exactly how the appeal is going to work. Hey, Lashane, how's it going? So yeah, we're going to get into that uphill battle. I'm glad you said that. AMSS 777. You said it's an uphill battle. We're going to get into that. I'm glad you said that. We definitely going to get into why it could be an uphill battle. But a lot of you know these steps already, but this is for the people in the gallery that may not know these steps. Okay. Number 3, his lawyer files the appellate brief. Hey, Cutie, I'm glad you're here as well. You know a lot of this stuff, but I'm going over it anyway. The defense will argue legal errors. So remember, they have to go through his case with his trial transcripts and have to go through it with a fine-tooth comb. I'm talking about from the beginning of this started all the way to the end. They looking for legal errors. That's why his attorney already objected to the voir dire, like that part of the process, the jury questioning. He's already objected to that already, so you know that's going to be brought up in the appellate. Okay, there was no black jurors, and they um, canceled out the black jurors, and they didn't have any to represent him on the stand. So that's going to be more than likely an issue. Possible issues could, like I said, self-defense instructions on how the jury was charged, whether evidence supported murder instead of manslaughter. Y'all hear it? You hear that? Whether evidence supported murder or manslaughter. The Batson/jury selection issues, if preserved, is already was preserved because they already made an objection. Evidentiary rulings. You hear it? Evidentiary rulings. We just talked about that. So, oh yeah, so that's right. It can be brought up, the evidentiary rulings. So if they ruled at some point, they had to rule because some people are saying that yeah, so here's the thing. Evidentiary rulings. Would they had to have ruled on it because some people are saying they saw an extended video. So there had to be a ruling on, showing half of the video or showing parts of the video. That's the evidentiary rulings. But if I'm a betting man, if it's true that there's an extended video out there that show him getting jumped, I don't even think that's going to be in the rulings. I believe that's a backdoor issue that ain't going to be written down. That's off the record. So what if that's off the record? We're never going to know. And we're never going to know if such video exists. We're going to get into that a little later. I'm not saying that they did that. I'm not saying that. But some people are saying that they saw an extended video and it shows that they're jumping on him. That was not showed in court. How do I know that? Somebody I met at the Diddy trial watching the World 777, he said he didn't see that. He saw parts of the video and he described parts of the video that he saw. He said he did not see somebody jumping on him. He didn't see it. It was blurry, first of all. He didn't see that. Some people are claiming, they're swearing all up and down that's what they saw. If it's the case, guys, will that ever will they ever get access to that video? That's my question. I don't know. So we went over evidentiary. Prosecutor arguments. Whether the sentence slash punishment phase had legal error. Whether the sentence or punishment phase had legal error. So they're going to go over that. The state responds. Prosecutors will argue the conviction and sentence should stand. That's exactly what they're going to do. The Court of Appeals decision. Because this is not a death penalty case, the Texas Criminal Appeals normally go first to one of the intermediate Texas courts of appeal. Texas says non-death criminal appeals go to the Court of Appeals, and those decisions may later be reviewed by the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. So they're going to go to the first step first. It's not a death penalty case. It almost was a death penalty case. Let this kid had been 18 at the time, he would be facing death. Yeah, so let him have been 18 at the time. More than likely, the death penalty would have been on the table. They would have tried to put that on the table. His lawyers could have argued mitigating circumstances on why they shouldn't put the death penalty on the table. But I followed the death penalty for a long time in Texas. They would have tried to put the death penalty on the table. They would have tried to. He's lucky he wasn't 18. If he was 18, they would have put it on the table. So he just made it. So we're gonna go there. We'll come back to that. We're gonna come back to that. And I lost my place here. Yeah. Prosecutors will argue the conviction and sentence should stand. I already said because this is not a death penalty case. The Texas Criminal Appeals normally go first to one of the intermediate Texas Court of Appeals. If he don't get no relief there, Texas says non-death criminal appeals go to the Court of Appeals, and those decisions may later be reviewed by the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. So it will go to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals if he don't get no action first at the other spot. The first step. Possible outcomes here. The appeals court can affirm the conviction and sentence, or they can reverse and remand for a new trial. That's what he wants. Or they can modify part of the judgment. Or they can reverse for insufficient evidence, which is much rare and can bar retrial. So let's stop for a second. So he's looking for a reverse or a remand because he can get a new trial. Me personally, if that happens for him, now his lawyer can argue for the least amount of time and not even take it to trial. If he loses, he can ask the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals to review the case through a petition of discretionary review. So we already said it. He's going to go to the first step first. But if he loses, then he can go to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. Since this is not a death penalty case, if it was a death penalty case, like we said, it'll go there automatically. It's not a death penalty case, though. So, but if he lose action in the first step, it'll go there for the review. The petition generally must be filed 30 days after the Court of Appeals judgment or after the hearing is denied. After direct appeal, if the direct appeal fails, he could later file a Texas post conviction writ habeas claim, especially for issues that usually require evidence outside the trial court record, like ineffective assistance of counsel. Texas Court of Criminal Appeals has sole authority and grant felony habeas relief. So these are some of the early steps that he has. And let me just say this: nothing is absolute in the legal system. You always have action in the court. You always have to believe you have action in court. Now, what does he have to do? He has to do something. He has to get in the law library. He's a smart kid. He graduated high school. He graduated a high GPA. Somebody's going to have to lace him up with game. It's going to be somebody older in there, and he's going to have to get them law books. He's going to have to get the state constitution. He's also going to have to get the United States Constitution. He's also going to have a copy of the Black's Law Dictionary. He's going to know that. He's going to know that. I have a copy, the Black's Law Dictionary. A matter of fact, if anybody's listening, if they could talk to his family, he needs a copy of the Black Law Dictionary ASAP. And he needs a lot of legal literature involving Texas, so that he can also research his case to help his lawyer out. Because his lawyer, let's face it, whoever he hires, he has other cases. He's not going to have priority over his case because he got other cases to deal with. So what can an inmate do in the meantime? He can help himself out by researching and writing letters, sending them to his attorney. I know this works firsthand because I saw it happen right before my eyes with Diddy. I went to the Diddy trial for people that don't know. I sat there and saw how he operated. He was writing letters to his lawyers. I mean, he was writing notes to his lawyers as they were talking to the judge. He was writing his letters. He was doing his due diligence. So he helped himself out as well. People don't know that. You got to know that to be there. But he was helping himself out. He was very proactive in his legal defense. I mean, he paid a lot of money. And remember, these people work for you. So, but you also got to help him out though. So that's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to get in that. He's going to have to get legal material. And then he's also going to have a copy of his transcript, and he's going to read the entire transcript. Yes, he is. And he's going to go through it with a fine tooth comb as well to look for errors. He's going to educate himself on what errors mean. Okay. What errors mean is this: in layman's terms, you're looking for stuff that violated your constitutional rights. That's what he's looking for. So he's going to have to go through that just in case his lawyer missed one. He's going to have to go through it. Preferably, he's going to need a lawyer with some type of respect in Texas. You can also have an outside lawyer too, but usually the lawyers have stand-in attorneys. Like, for example, let's say Jose Baez, if he's not barred in the state of Texas, you can have a stand-in. He can still work on your behalf, but he has a stand-in, right? He has a stand-in attorney that could also work as well. Like, for example, in the Diddy case, y'all know Michael Steele that represented Young Thug. I was on the elevator with him. Really nice guy. He was there at the Diddy trial. He's one of Diddy lawyers, if y'all didn't know. And he single-handedly was responsible with him and his partner was responsible for probably getting Diddy off that more serious charge. So, but I don't know if he's barred in the state of New York, but they had stand-in attorneys. You know, they had attorneys there that were barred in the state of New York. So Michael Steele could come do some work. So can they afford Michael Steele? Can they afford Jose Baez? But also, can they afford a high-powered attorney that has respect in the state of Texas? He needs to form some type of dream team. That's going to require a lot of money. It looks like he has some action here because some celebrities are talking about it. But I don't know if anybody donated to him yet. You're going to have to donate to him if you want this kid to have some action. Everybody has action. Even when you don't have no more action, you have action. You have to believe you still have action. That's what a lot of inmates will tell you. Some inmates, they give up though, and they just get on some politics and just be dusty their whole damn time. But some people being there really fighting their case. They be really fighting their case to the end. And that's what he's gonna have to do. Because if he really truly believes that this was self-defense, he gonna have to fight. He gonna have to fight now if he believes it was self-defense. Um, but I want to talk about later on the things we're gonna have to do to prevent this. These things are preventable. You know what I'm saying? Certain things are preventable, and I'm gonna have to say it in a certain way. Some people are gonna get pissed, but we have to live in reality here. Everybody live different realities. So everybody, we on different timelines. You know what I'm saying? We are living different realities, but there's certain things we have different commonalities. That's all we can all agree on. That you got to do certain things out here to survive. We're gonna talk about it. Now, what are his chances of winning the first appeal in Texas? Well, there's no honest way of giving a precise percentage, really. Everybody knows that. But for Carmelo case, without a trial transcript and knowing exactly what legal errors were preserved, appeals are not about whether the public disagrees with the verdict. They are about whether the trial court made a legal error serious enough to affect the outcome. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter about our opinion. Opinion don't mean nothing. Did they make a serious legal error that could have affected the outcome in this case, which is violating his constitutional rights? That's it. It's not about how you feel about it. It's not about you said that you saw more of the video. It's not about that. It's not about that. But if you can get your hands on the full video, then give it to his new lawyer. But other than that, they're not even gonna be talking about that. Not really. If his lawyer didn't get his hands on it, they're not gonna be talking about it. And I'm gonna say something. Usually a defendant, I don't really recommend them taking the stand. But in this case, maybe he should have. Maybe he should have sat up there and said he was getting jumped on. And maybe the evidence don't show it, but let me hear him say it, that he was getting jumped on. He didn't say that. His defense didn't say he was getting jumped on, okay? Even though I know people saying that he was getting jumped on, his lawyer didn't say that he was getting jumped on and he was getting jumped. His lawyer didn't say that. Now, I understand that people said they saw an extended version of the video, but the fact of the matter is don't mean nothing right now. It doesn't. If you can find the video, give it to his lawyer. And now we got some action. The realistic general range for criminal defendants on a first direct appeal is roughly 5 to 12%. I had to do some research on that because I remember we were saying it was only 2 to 3%. That's not accurate. I went back and looked at some cases and people did get action the first time. You see, people say anything. So now I have to go back like I'm in college now. I have to do research now. Because I'm not trying to like purposely give misinformation no more. Roughly 5 to 12% in the state of Texas in the Lone Star State. People do get action. And check this out. Did anybody think I have to make it about race sometime? Because that's what people making it as. Do you think black people get relief in Texas? Yes or no? Because I said the percentage is between 5 to 12%. So do some of them get relief? The answer is yes, they do. I'll bring up the cases later if you want. But we'll be here a while. But I've already researched the cases already. People get relief the first time. I haven't done the percentage on people that get their case reversed as far as like going to a new trial. I didn't do that, but that'll be on the second video. So it's 5 to 12% of getting meaningful relief, depending on how it's not a matter of winning the appeal. There's no such thing. 5 to 12% getting meaningful relief, depending on how success is counted. That's the by case basis on what is success. The Bureau of Justice Statistics found that in state criminal cases, appeals nationally is about 12% resulting in reversal. So I had to go with national too. It's about 12% in reversal or remand. or do it for a modification, meaning that they could go back and modify the original sentence, stuff like that. So nationally, it's about 12%. Texas specific. Public annual reports provide appellate activity. Yeah, I've already said that already. It's 5. I said 5 to 12%, but it's like 5. I would say more so like 5 to 10% in the state of Texas. Nationally is you go all the way up to 12%. Some people argue that in Texas the number is a lot lower. Some people say it's 2 to 3% in Texas. I did see literature on that, but I didn't find too many more sources on that. So I went with the higher number. I'm just trying to, you know, go with the higher number here, but I can't argue with you if you feel like that percentage is 2 to 3%. I did see some literature on it. I just didn't see much. So winning a complete reversal is an uphill battle, but a new trial argument is not impossible if his lawyers can show preserved legal error, especially around jury selection, self defense instructions, excluded evidence, or improper argument. The appeal is likely to take months, not days. So that's one thing. Okay, so the appeal is likely to take months, not days. So somebody said to me, I think it was on IG, when do you think he's gonna hear something from the appeals? Will we in 2026? Maybe at some point in 2027. At some point, maybe late 2027. They gotta have other cases to do, you know. They got people waiting and just depend on his lawyer, how they get busy. It just all depends. Maybe he'll have a new lawyer by then. So you need to take his time because he might have a new lawyer by then or a team by then. We'll see. It's an uphill battle, but it's not impossible. So I wanted to talk about after he exhausts his direct appeals. If we can get into that in a second, because somebody had a question on it. Damn, what if he exhausts all his appeals? Then he go to the next step. He still got action. He got action until he stopped breathing. He got action. You said if Carmelo stabbed a black student, which student is the victim? If Carmelo had stabbed a black student, which student is the victim? That's an easy question. Based on the evidence we have now, the person that got stabbed is the victim. That's an easy question because I don't have no evidence that he was getting jumped yet or that he was in great fear of his life. So why would you? Did you not know the answer to that question? You said that either of them had breakfast. Were you trying to say they were hangry? They were hangry. You never hear of the story if that was the case. You said you'll never hear the story if the. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So you saying if I went out there and did the same thing he did, you probably wouldn't hear about the story, or you might hear it maybe a 5 second clip in the news briefing. You might hear that. I might can make it to a 5 second clip in the news briefing. It's the way things is. The the media sensationalize things when it's black and white. Yeah. In most murder appeals, you said nothing changes until the appeal is fully decided, which can take 1 to 3 years. It just depends in this case. It could take a long time. It just depends. We're still going over it now. We're going through the process step by step as far as it relates to Texas. So after he exhausts his direct appeals, he is not completely out of options. But but the fight becomes harder. At this point, he moves from appeal into post conviction relief. Now, what can he do after all appeals are exhausted? File a Texas post conviction writ of habeas corpus. For a Texas felony conviction that is not a death penalty case, the main route is Article 11.07 writ. Texas law says that after a final felony conviction, the writ is made returnable to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. This is where he can raise issues that usually do not fit well on direct appeal, such as ineffective assistance of trial counsel, new evidence. Now he can bring in the new evidence now. Now, this step, he can start bringing in the new evidence, actual innocence claims, Brady violations, meaning evidence allegedly withheld by the state. Remember, we were just talking about that because the people are saying that they saw a video that was extended that showed him getting jumped. Well, that are Brady violations, meaning evidence allegedly withheld by the state. Constitutional violations outside of the trial record, witness recantations, jury misconduct, if reported by evidence. But I have a strange suspicion that you're never going to hear from the jury. I have a strange suspicion that you're just not. Because think about it, if the jury start interviewing, a lot of people are going to be listening very closely to see if they violated anything. So this is not a second trial. He would need evidence, affidavits, records, expert records, or something strong enough to show a constitutional problem. So you're going to ask for post-conviction DNA testing, if relevant, things like that. If biological evidence exists and DNA testing, I don't know if it is in this case, but it's all them type of things he could file. He can file a federal habeas corpus petition. Now we going all the way to the top now. After state remedies are exhausted, he may try a federal habeas corpus. In federal court, this is very difficult because federal courts give a lot of difference to state court decisions. Federal habeas is usually about federal constitutional violations, not just the jury got it wrong. Or he can ask for a clemency or commutation. He can't ask for that from the president of the United States. He has to ask for the governor. This is not a federal case. If it was a federal case, then his family could appeal to Trump, right? But this is a state case, so he got to go to the governor. Okay, but you got to go through the Texas Board of Pardons. You have to go through it's a spot you go through, it's a route. You go to the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles, the governor, and the governor, excuse me, yeah, and the governor. Clemency is not a legal right. It is a mercy slash political executive process. It can include a commutation, pardon, or offer relief, but it is rare. How about this? Parole later, depending on eligibility. Separate from the appeals, he may be eventually become parole eligible for a 35-year Texas murder sentence. Parole timing depends on Texas parole law and any applicable deadly weapon finding. Murder is a serious violent offense, so he should expect to serve a substantial portion before parole eligibility. So how long will it take to exhaust everything? Realistic timeline, stage, the first one, like that person just said in here, 1 to 2 years. That's the direct appeal to Texas Court of Appeals. Now, the petition of discretionary review to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, several months to 1 year plus, or 1 plus years. How about the U.S. Supreme Court cert a petition if attempted, several months? How about Texas 11.7 habeas writ, 1 to 3 years plus? Federal habeas petition, 1 to 3 years plus. Federal appeals after habeas denial, 1 to 2 years plus. So to exhaust all meaningful appellate and post-conviction rights, it could easily take 4 to 8 years. And in complicated cases, it can go 10 years or more before he exhausts everything. The direct appeal track alone may take 1.5 to 3 years. If he loses the direct appeal, a petition of discretionary review to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals is not automatic. The court chooses whether to take the case. You hear me? The court chooses whether to take the case. Did you hear that? They don't have to take the case. They choose whether they want to take the case. I told you he better go get him a lawyer and stop playing. They choose whether to take the case or not. This is, remember, each state is different. I know what y'all saying. They don't work in my state, and we're talking specifically about Texas. Okay, if he loses direct appeal, a petition for discretionary review to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals is not automatic. That court chooses whether to take the case. Well, he better have a lawyer, man. He better have a lawyer that commands respect. The Texas appellate attorneys note that the Court of Criminal Appeals is a discretionary court review, not a second automatic appeal. The key difference: an appeal says something legally wrong happened here during my trial record. Habeas writ says something unconstitutional or newly discovered exists outside or beyond the trial record. So y'all got to go find that video. If you say the video exists, somebody got to go find it, or you got to pay money for it. So everybody got a price. If you feel like that video exists, y'all put some money together and get that person some money. Or better yet, you know one of the kids recorded it. You know they still got it on their phones. So money talks. Listen, guys, I just want to make a public cry. If anybody recorded what happened, we have $100,000 for you. And nobody got to know we gave it to you. We could give it to you in a paper bag. We need that video. That's how you got to do it. Because everything costs in this world. Everything costs. So if you feel like you saw the extended video and it shows that he was getting pummeled, somebody got to come with some money, because ain't nobody gonna freely give it. This is 2026. We live in a colder world than it was when we were growing up because of social media. This world is actually colder than it was when I grew up. Okay. If you said that this kid that invited him to that tent was a friend of his, he's saying he wasn't. He don't know him like that. So what can make him refresh his memory? I don't know. I'm not encouraging it. Let me just give you a disclaimer. I'm not encouraging trying to bribe nobody. I'm not. But I'm just talking about the real world here on how I imagine it. Not that I'm encouraging it. Sometimes you just gotta leave people alone if they ain't trying to help. I know somebody sitting in jail right now for the rest of their life. All they need one person to make a phone call and they will be out ASAP. All they need is this person to recant their story. They will be out ASAP. That's why we're going to talk about later on how to prevent things before it happens. How to stay out of situations before the danger come. That's the magic. If you can do that, you set. If you can do that, you're in a secret society. That means you have extreme common sense. Like, for example, I wanted to go to when the Knicks won a championship, I wanted to go out there and record. Then I said, nah, because one of them little people out there even touched me, I'm gonna get busy. And guess what? I'll be sitting in Rikers Island. So I said, no, I'm not gonna go. So I'm avoiding trouble before it happens. Because what I saw on that video, I saw a bunch of robots that might be under mind control. It was this one person, I don't know if you saw the video, he was bashing in the windows to the bus. If you see him walk off, he's not a little kid. He looks like a little kid. He's not. He's a grown man. And the way he was walking and the way he was looking, it's like he was under mind control. So I didn't want to be around them type of people. I didn't want to be around them type of people. You know what I'm saying? Because I know how to, like, if somebody square up or a dope fiend me, I know how to act what you call docile. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And have them laugh at me, right? But in my mind, I'm waiting for you to turn your back so I can hit your throat. Or one thing I'm gonna do is if you turn your back to me, I'm gonna crack your ankle first so you can't run. Now I'm gonna do you dirty once you're on the ground. That's what's in my mind. So I need to act docile first so you will leave me alone and lower your defenses. Now I'm gonna come and get my get back. So if I have that mentality, why would I go there if I have that mentality? Now, would it be self-defense though? Would that be self-defense if I crack somebody like that? No. Because even if they hit me, no, because they're walking away from me. And now I'm deciding to walk like I'm the Undertaker and back them and they don't even know it. So no, but if it's happening in the commission, if they jump me, yes, I could do somebody dirty. I will. You know what you do? Let me tell you guys something. If this ever happens to you, because they're all saying Carmelo was getting jumped, you take the smallest person, and that's who you do dirty while everybody doing you dirty. That's how you do it. You take the smallest one if you're gonna get jumped. But you notice the key question: I didn't have no weapon. Didn't have no weapon. But in this case, a weapon was used, so he's gonna have to. It's an uphill battle, but he still have action. So we're gonna go over that. We're also gonna go over the history of that that prison he's in. We're gonna go over that too. He seemed like he's in a good spot. He seemed like he's in a good spot. And the reason why they put him there probably because of the health situation. We're gonna get into that later. So if his direct appeals fails, his strongest remaining path will likely be an Article 11.7 writ, especially if his lawyers can develop evidence that was not fully available during the trial. Now, let me just get into this real quick. Some people saying he he um he went to his state prison too fast. They say he caught the chain too fast. That's the slang they use. He catching the chain. He caught the chain too fast, and they saying that's unusual. Not from the research I've done. It happens sometime. Roughly in Texas, after someone is convicted and sentenced to prison, the move to county jail to the TDC. That's what people are talking about, TDCJ or state prison custody. Commonly happens within a few days to several weeks on average. But Texas law does not pushes the TDCJ to take custody within 45 days after required transfer paperwork is received and certified. But they're pushing it now. That's what they're saying. They're now pushing the TDCJ to take custody within 45 days. His was within 24 hours, not even. That's what I'm thinking. With 24 hours, he was shipped out. So it was pretty fast. So I mean they had the paperwork ready already. They was ready for him. So the important detail, the 45-day clock usually does not simply start the second the judge say 35 years. But in this case, the jury said 35 years. It starts after the county sends the required pen packet paperwork to the TDCJ, certifies, accept the documents. A Texas bill analysis explains that the TDCJ reviews the transfer documents, and once certified, the TDCJ must accept the person awaiting within 45 days. But in his case, they already had that paperwork waiting already. They already had it waiting, and they was already taking care of that. They probably already took care of it before he even got convicted. It happened so damn fast. Actually, no, they must have spent late hours doing it. They was working on that paperwork as soon as the jury said he was guilty. They were working on it. Um, it was also reported that county send the TDCJ paperwork after conviction. TDCJ has 5 business days to review it, and they only had what they had. They reviewed that within hours. It says the countdown begins once the paperwork is finalized. It was finalized soon. They probably said guilty, man, straight up and down. Yep. So it says, so if someone is moved to the TDCJ in custody in, let's say, a few days or a week, it can feel fast, but it's not impossible. It may mean the paperwork was ready quickly. That's what I'm saying. The county had an efficient transfer process for him, and the TDCJ had available intake, meaning they had available intake space and they were waiting for him. They had already planned this already, guys, before he even got convicted. They already knew where he was going, probably, and they already planned it. Even while he was sitting home, they were planning this. There was a plan put in place for him. That's what it's telling me. Because they have other people that got convicted. And, Texas is a big state. Well, we're just speaking of a county. We're just speaking of the county to the state prison. His particular county to the state prison, they move fast in his county. That's just all I'm just saying. So he went to the Wallace Pack unit, man. That's where he's at now. And yes, we are gonna have we got a little literature for you about I found a little bit of literature about the Wallace Pack unit. How's everybody doing? You said he was not jumped, but there was not a bruise. You know what they're saying? They're saying that the picture was Photoshop. They said that his arrest photo was Photoshop. That's what they're saying. It said he was not jumped, but there was not a bruise, cut, scratches, broken tooth, or even a slightest sign of damage done there. Let me tell you what's going to happen, though, guys. Even though people are saying this, oh, it was Photoshop, it don't matter what nobody say. They can keep talking from here to Thursday, but really, all the people doing is just getting content. He's just content now. That's all he is. He's content. But some people actually care about the case, or they say they do. Right? They say they do, but it don't matter what they say. The photo was there, and they said everything was done right. Don't matter what nobody say. It don't matter how many times people keep talking about there was another video. Don't matter. You'll see when this appeals process start. You'll see. They don't care. See, there's two timelines going on. There's a life online and the real life outside. We only care about the life outside. We don't care about online stuff. We don't care about that. We don't care about they don't care, excuse me, they don't care about people's opinions online. What's outside is what really means the most. So that's what I'm saying. They don't care about what celebrities saying and stuff like that. He's outside with it. It matters what happens in the appeals for him and what his lawyer can do. Can his lawyer let the magic happen? Can he make the magic happen? That's really all that matters here now for him. The jury has spoken. The jury was the one that found him guilty and sentenced him, not the judge. The judge was only there to facilitate the process and make sure things go smoothly. That was the only job of the judge. That's it. He's just sitting back, you know, making sure if they raise objections and if there's a problem in the court, he would have to fix that. But he didn't sentence him. So he had the Wallace Pack unit. Um, the Wallace Pack unit um, is located at, I'm not going to say the address. Y'all know, y'all can just type in Wallace Pack unit. You got the address. I don't want nobody to say, well, I got the address from Max and I went up there and tried to do the most. You already know what the address is. You can just find it. It's 5 miles south of Navasota in Grimes County. TDCJ listed as a male prison with a capacity of 1,426. It was established in September 1983. It houses custody levels G1 through G3, security detention, and outside trustee inmates. Basic history of the Wallace Pack Unit. The unit opened, like I said, in 1983 and is part of the TDCJ's Region 1 prison system. It sits on a large rural prison property, about 7,000 acres, co-located with the Luther unit. The pack became widely known because it houses many elderly, disabled, and medically vulnerable inmates. Remember, y'all said it was reported that he has epilepsy. So it houses medically vulnerable inmates. Okay. That's why they send them there. That's what I think. That matters because the prison later became a center of a major lawsuit over heat, water, and inmate health conditions. So I'm going to tell you about that. Notorious things connected here to the Wallace Pack Unit extreme heat lawsuit. You can research the case. You ready? It's called Cole, C-O-L-E, Cole v. Collier, Collier. Just put that in Google, Cole v. Collier, and it'll come up. This is the biggest thing the pack is known for. In 2014, inmates sued the TDCJ, arguing that extreme heat inside the prison violated the 8th Amendment ban on cruel and unusual punishment. Advocacy groups describe it as a landmark case because temperatures inside the unit reportedly exceeded 100 degrees. Whew. In 2018, Texas agreed to install air conditioning in the pack unit as part of the settlement. The Texas Tribune later called the pack a notoriously hot geriatric prison and said sick and elderly prisoners were moved to cool housing. The U.S. District Judge Keith Ellison approved the settlement and said it was a major movement in Texas prison history. Government reported that the lawsuit cited nearly 24 heat stroke deaths in Texas prison over the prior 2 decades. In the pack unit, temperatures that routinely exceeded 100 degrees. That does not mean all of those deaths happened at the pack, but the pack became the symbol of a larger Texas prison heat crisis. There was also arsenic in the drinking water, and I know that for a fact. I used to work. I'm not going to tell you what I used to do, but I'm retired now, but I used to work for an environmental lab, and I started working there in 2002, and we worked on some building materials from 9/11, different things like that I can't even talk about right to this day. The only thing I can tell you is the death toll for 9/11 is still going up. It hasn't stopped yet. So that's the only thing I can tell you. Death toll is not finalized yet. I would say maybe within the next 20 years. Let me see. What is it? Yeah, maybe. Arsenic in the drinking water. Another serious issue with the water. In 2016, a federal judge ordered the TDCJ to provide PAC unit prisoners with drinking water free of unsafe arsenic levels. It was past trace amounts, by the way. I just ain't gonna tell you the amount. I'm not telling you. Prison legal news reported that the judge said the water had contained. Okay, well I could say it because they said it here in the article. It contained I don't know if I could say 2 to 4.5 times the EPA limit since arsenic 2006. It's well past trace levels. That was especially serious because inmates also were dealing with extreme heat. So that mixed with the arsenic. Woo. So They only really had air problems there and the arsenic. They don't really have any notorious situations there with killings and stuff like that. Um, so the pack is not mainly known for as a gang war or supermax type prison. Its reputation is more about conditions of confinement, heat, elderly people, or the medically vulnerable inmates, water quality, and lawsuits. That's what they're known for. I don't really find too many cases there where do you have fights there? Of course. They have fights there, but he's at a good place. And they probably put him there because okay, he has a condition, so we're gonna put him over here. So he's not trust me, he could have went somewhere even more crazy. They could have sent him somewhere really crazy, but they didn't. So they sent him there. I mean, for jail standards, it's okay for him to be there. For jail standards, because they don't really have too many cases. I mean, they have fights and stuff, but not like other places. You know what I'm saying? They have more older population there. Geriatric inmates, elderly, people that got life, they there. I just saw a disturbing video today. A guy he just got released. He got arrested in 1975. He did 51 years. He just got released. Okay. He got arrested in 1975, right when the Vietnam War ended. So he got arrested when the Vietnam War ended. And now he's just getting out now in 2026 to a space age world. It looked like the Jetsons to him now. Cell phones, cars driving itself, um, craziness. And he's an old man now. And I saw another video of this guy saying that he got 200 years. They sentenced him to 200 years. He said, "Well, how much time did you do?" He said, "I did 26 already." And they sentenced him to 200 years. Sentenced another guy to 150 years. He's already did 23, and another guy had 300 years. And this guy that has 200 years, he does he's a content creator. Because in jail I had told you guys that they allow phones. He does work on Instagram and TikTok. He get a lot of views too. And he pretty much are telling young people to don't come in here. He said, "How you young people like to slide, right? Y'all like to slide and think y'all tough, but wait till y'all get in here." He said, "Wait till y'all get in here and you fail the test." Y'all know what test I'm talking about, right? Do y'all know what test I'm talking about? Because I wasn't joking when I was talking about the test. I'm talking about. I told you the story my cousin said. What happened to his boy? I thought he was being funny when he told me the story. This is when I first found out about the chocolate bar on your pillow. Okay. In his case, it was a Snicker bar. It was one of them double Snicker bar. The real big Snicker bar. That was signifying something. I got a big Snicker bar for you. Go ahead and eat that big Snicker bar. Because I got more where that came from, baby. Okay. I got more of that big Snicker bar for you. Remember, you're in a predatory environment. Mello is really not in that type of situations. A lot of elderly inmates where he's at, and it's a lot of inmates there with health issues. Okay, where he's going is not known for that. Okay, so I don't think he got to worry about somebody testing him with a chocolate bar. It really do happen. You know what I'm saying? The chocolate bar situation. It really does happen, man. It really does happen, but I know some people already talked about it in his situation, but I don't think it's going to happen. I've already researched the Wallace Pack unit, even though things can happen at the Wallace Pack unit. People could try to extort them there. I don't know. You know, we'll get into that in a second, Montag. We'll get into that in a second about whether he's jumped or not. We'll get back. Actually, I already got into it. I said, well, that's not part of evidence. So we can't go on that. Okay. We can't go on that until they produce a video showing it. Other than that, That's not what the parole and stuff. That's not what the appellate division gonna be going on. Also, it wasn't a part of nothing in the original transcript. So not gonna go on that. I said if there's such a video exists, they gotta go find it. Other than that, we can't keep talking about it. But now dangers, like I said, inside of the prison. Like I said, my cousin told me a crazy ass story. I thought he was lying. He be telling me he be, like to tell his like horror stories in there. And I thought he was first of all, I thought he was being funny. I said, bro, you being funny because it's his boy Hector. And the thing is, they were housed in different counties. They weren't housed in the same county in Georgia. But when they got off the bus, they saw each other. Hector was on a different bus, and he was getting off the bus because they bring a bus for you early in the morning, tell you to pack up like 3 or 4 in the morning. You gotta get on a bus to go to the county. No, to the your permanent spot. And he's getting off the bus, and he happened to see Hector. He's like, "Yo, what up?" And Hector said, "Yo, what up?" They like sharing pleasantries and shit because he knew somebody. And it just so happened him and Hector they were on the same they were in the same, unit, same floor too. So they were cool. He's like, "Yo, man, we gonna do this," you know what I'm saying? This and that. They were like, getting it together, but he said when they were walking, they were in single file line because they had to go get their, mat for their bed. They had the sheets, they had, a washcloth, you get the toothbrush, stuff like that. You had your little care package. And they were going to they were getting assigned to their cells. Hector had got his cell. He already was in there. He put his stuff away. He was talking to his cellie, and they was sharing pleasantries and all that stuff. It was an OG dude, like, and my cousin put his stuff away. He just chilling at this point. Hector walked downstairs. They both did. Hector come back. He started yelling. All he heard was yelling. He said, "Damn, not already." He getting in a fight already? Damn, because they had both been locked up before together. He said, "Damn, he getting locked up." He said, "He getting a fight already." He said, "Who put this shit on my pillow?" They put it on his pillow of all things, put on his pillow. And he come running out. He said, "What happened?" "This fucking candy bar." He already knew what time it was. Somebody thought he was cute, and they were testing him. And he finally found out who put on his candy bar. He took the candy bar and threw it at the dude and like do something. You know what I'm saying? He said, "The next time you do it," he said, "I'm gonna let you slide this time. The next time you do it, you come to my cell and we getting a one-on-one." Straight up. Because he told me, he said, "Somebody do that, especially if they tell you they did it, you don't know who did it." He said, "Don't eat the candy bar." He said, "What they do, don't eat the candy bar, whether it's a baby roof, whatever, don't eat the damn candy bar. Okay? Don't eat the candy bar. Don't do it." Some of you might just be hungry, you just got out from the county. Like, damn, somebody being cool, put a little candy bar on my bed. Don't eat the candy bar. Okay. Even I know that. I never even been to jail. Don't eat the candy bar. Okay. Do not eat the candy bar, El Hombre. Don't eat the candy bar now. Okay. Because now you're available. That's what you're telling them. And he also told me, he said, some of these youngins, they better stop walking around sagging, showing their behind. Because back in the day, you know where that came from? That's letting other people know you're available. Okay. You said he just like Daniel in the Lions. Ooh, you said Daniel in the Lions den. Daniel 622. He said Daniel in the Lions den. Yeah, I know because he's small and petite. But the thing is, he said, don't eat that. Don't eat the candy bar. Don't eat the honey bun, El Hombre. What is he talking about? Don't even do that. Don't eat nothing. He said one time he was locked up. He said the dude was enjoying that candy bar. He said, "Whoever gave me the candy bar, thank you." But the dude that ate the candy bar, he was mentally challenged. Nobody did nothing to him. He sat there and ate that candy bar and said he wanted to know who did it. Nobody came up to him because they was like, "Damn, that's." They put it. See, the dude with the he said the dude he was cool with the dude because the dude played chess. He used to play chess with dude, but the dude had mental problems. And now what I'm about to tell you now, I'm about to tell you a story about the kung fu expert. I'm gonna tell you about that in a second because this shit is hilarious, right? A dude in there know kung fu, right? But anyway, I gotta have him on so y'all can hear him. The way he tell because me and him, we're like twins. We sound alike, bro. When we the same age. And we sound alike. We grew up together. We call each other twins because we grew up together. You know what I'm saying? And I'll say, "Bro, you ran into somebody know kung fu." He said, "Bro, dude know kung fu, yo." But the dude, what happened was the dude that was like kind of off a little bit, nobody messed with him. He was like the size of Ving Rhames. Okay. He was the size of Ving Rhames, right? He was just fucking solid. Okay. And no matter how hot it was, he just be out there working out. He used to be by himself. And sometime he'll want to box people. Like he'll just randomly start boxing people. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was just like crazy like that. So one day his cellie, and he knew the dude that was his cellie, they had known each other. Somebody put the candy bar on his cellie bunk and he took it. And he sat out there. He said, "Bro, he was licking the candy bar like it was damn ice cream, dog." He was the way he was licking that candy bar. And he told the person he was yelling, he said, "Who gave me this candy bar? I want to meet you. Whoever gave me this candy bar." But the candy bar wasn't meant for him. He's sitting there eating the candy bar because he big as fuck. Who gonna do something to him? He like 260 pounds, like 6'3", 260 pounds. Like, who gonna do something to him, man? Okay. And he sat there and ate them candy bars, and he wanted to know who's to give him the candy bar. But nobody would own up to it. That was hilarious when he told me that. He said Ving Rhames, DS. Dude looked like Ving Rhames. You know what I'm saying? So he said one time he was sitting on the yard. He said he was on the yard. He was like, it's his third day on the yard because he knew somebody. Hector was with him. They did time together. Hector was this the first time he did time. Hector was with him, and they were chilling with their boys on the yard. It was this older dude. It was an older dude. He was out there just practicing karate. That's all he used to do. He did his time alone. He didn't like click up with nobody. He didn't know nobody from the neighborhood. He was just going at it alone. Okay. He was going at it alone and nobody would really bother him. He was like a friendly dude. He's like a friendly dude and whatnot. But he was a white guy though. And this dude was like, "Yo, I'm about to go." He get a lot of commissary. So I'm gonna roll up. He said, "I'm gonna roll up in his spot, and take his commissary." So the dude went to go get some coffee and they went right up in his spot and took some of his commissary, and the dude saw it. And you know what he said? "You guys can have it." He said, "If you really wanted it that bad, you didn't really take nothing that I'm not gonna, I have a lot of commissary because he had access to a lot of money." This guy, come to find out, he said he owned a restaurant on the outside, him and his wife. I forget what he had to do time for because you can actually research his case. I'll find it next time. I forget what he did time for, but he had to do 2 years. And that's what he was doing his time there or whatnot. But he owned a restaurant, he had money. And he used to get commissary. He said, bro, he had so much commissary that it looked like a store in his spot. And also he had his own cell. So then he said, "Oh, you can have that." He's like, "I'm a Christian guy, you can have it, but just don't go in my cell no more." So the dude took it as him being soft. So the next day, they went in there Like, it was early morning. He said they went in there and they went right in his cell and they wanted to do him dirty. And he said all you heard was yelling. That's all you heard. He said the dude came out, they came running out his cell. This dude just started doing kicks. He said it's almost like a kung fu movie. He was doing so many damn kicks. And then he grabbed one of the guys and submitted him. You know how the dude is tapping out? It didn't matter how many times he was tapping out, he was trying to kill him. And the guards started running and trying to get him off the dude. And it looked like he had killed the guy, but he didn't. And he let him go. And the dude was like dropped like a just dropped like that. And then he said that was it. And the guards, they wouldn't even put handcuffs on him. They were scared of him. They said, listen, you got to go into, since he started fighting, they had to lock him up. But they took him without handcuffs. That's how they were, even the guards were scared of him. That's how much he was like, I think he said he was like a fourth degree Dan. That's how high he was up in this Kung Fu shit. He was like a Dan, like he was an extra in a movie with Chuck Norris when he was a kid. Like that he was all that. Like that's how like he really knew his karate. That's what he was telling me. So that happened. And then he said a person came up in there the size of Mello, white dude, looking like straight up like Pee Wee Herman, right? As soon as he came out there, he didn't say nothing to nobody. They gave him his own cell because they had classified him as being strange. Like he can't be around nobody. Like he was already classified when he was in the county. But they didn't know what was going on with him. So straight up Pee Wee Herman. And he went to the mess hall, where they go eat. He was sitting by himself. And the dude went up to him and was like, said something to him. The next thing you know, nothing happened. Then he said the next day, all you heard was screaming. That's all you heard. The dude had prepared some hot water, went in that dude's cell and threw it on him. Crazy. And then that dude, he said he didn't see him no more. He got moved up out of there. They put him in a hole. He got moved up out of it. He said dude was mentally off. But he said the stuff you see in there. And then he said you got professional Peter gazers in there too. You know what I'm saying? So, and then he said you also got people wanting to go heads up with you. But usually they trying to go heads up with the female guards. You know what I'm saying? Trying to catch eye contact while they going heads up with you. Now I know what you're saying, like what is heads up? It's a condition they have. It excites them for you to make eye contact with them while he's sitting up there choking the chicken. Okay, I had to talk a certain way because this whole thing, but it's called going heads up, and you could get in trouble for that. A lot of inmates got in trouble for going heads up. This one dude, he was notorious for it. He was like, he said, bro, he could have got a gold medal in going heads up with female guards, yo. He would have got a gold medal if it was Olympic sport. You know what I'm saying? So people had their own thing in there. Then he said the Peter gazers. He said this one dude, yo, he said when they showered, you don't shower. You shower with your boxes on, your shirt, and then you take your shirt off. Then you can wash your shirt and put your new shirt on, and put your new box on while you're in the shower. He said this new dude went in there. He went full birthday suit, and he just lathered up, thought like he in the Ritz Carlton, and all the Peter gazers was watching him, and soap all in his face. He couldn't see nothing, and he don't know his predators around him, and he's sitting up there just having a good time. Like but somebody had to lace him up. Like, bro, you could have got something could have happened to you in there because you got Peter gazers in there. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be careful, beware the Peter gazers. So yeah, I was like, yo, what the fuck is Peter gazers? You know, what the hell is the Peter gazer? He said, yo, they want to catch eye contact with you when you're in the shower. You don't want to do that. I said, what? He said, yeah, bro. You know what I'm saying? Gazing at your Peter gazers. Hence the name Peter gazers. So it's a whole bunch of stuff, man. I like, bro, you can have like content for days just talking about it. He don't like talking about it no more. He like, fuck that. Like I'm living a different life. But he said Mello, he gonna get acclimated. He said the OG gonna pull him to the side. And he said, get him acclimated to the process. And he said he ain't gonna have no, he said, you know how they made a lie and said the whites put a hit out on him. He said that ain't happening. They ain't gonna touch him in there. Yeah, the ball gazers, the Peter gazers. He said that ain't gonna happen. He said he'd be okay. He said they probably because he's about a buck 50, first time. He's a square, good student. Um, they're gonna put him by himself. They're gonna put him somewhere where he's okay. But that's it. But there's a lot of, like I said, misinformation being spread out here on this case. But I'm here to tell you that doesn't matter. Because the powers that be, they're not listening to none of y'all. None of us. They're not listening to none of us. That parole board, they're not listening to us. And the ones that do care, they get fired. You see that lady got fired? We talked about it earlier. She got fired. But he do have action. You know, we'll see what happened with his appeal. That's the only thing I can say. I'm not gonna say he's gonna lose it, but we'll see what happens. Now, with the respects of self-defense, I don't know if it was I wasn't there, you know. So some people say it wasn't. The jury it don't matter now. The jury has already spoken. You see what I'm saying? So they said it wasn't self-defense. So and if it truly wasn't self-defense, then he gonna have to do his time. That's it. He gotta do his time. Now, some people are saying this lawyer even said it. He said it's his parents' fault that he got all that time. Because they said he should have took the deal in the very beginning and he would have got 10 years. Everybody's saying that. He would have got 8 to 10 years. He said they don't want to put no family through the trial and that family got to go see them autopsy photos. He said they don't want to put the family through that. So if you want us to cop out, we'll give you 8 to 10. I'm like, damn, man, are you serious? They would have gave him 8 to 10? Yeah, 8 to 10. They would have gave him 8 to 10 because they don't want to put the family through that, looking at the autopsy photos and going through all this, spending taxpayers' money. Just go ahead and cop out. Give you 8 to 10 because they know he didn't set out to kill the kid. You know, it was his reckless behavior that caused the death of another person. That's what he would have copped out to. 8 to 10 in Texas. I said, even in that good old boy state, he said, bro, it happens all the time. Just do your research. I said, yep, it does happen. Yeah, Raymond dropping the olive branch that we talked about last couple of days. But I didn't believe it. I said, are you serious? He said, bro, do the research. Just research the cases. He said, just pull the news articles. That's all. So if y'all really want to know, just pull it or just go to Google and cite and say this. Just go with not this year, but go with 2025. All the notable cases that notable murder cases in the state of Texas that copped out to 8 to 10 years. It's in the news. You'll see it. I was like, wow, they really give people that time for yeah. It depends on the circumstances though. They don't give it to everybody. It depends on the circumstances. So if it's a situation where you victimize somebody and you straight serial killer, no, you're not copping out to nothing. So let me get that straight. You're not going to cop out to anything. You're just going to get what you get and that's it. But for other cases where the person didn't set out to do it and is reckless behavior, he or she, reckless behavior caused the death of another individual. Yeah, it's a case by case basis, but I'm not saying it's a guarantee they would have gave him that, but more than likely he said he probably got 8 to 10. So if he got 8, how much time do you think he would have got? 4. He'd been out in 4 or 5. Okay. He could have completed his by the time he did that, he could have completed his college degree. Because you can do a college degree where he's at. You can get your classes there where he's at. You said, Max, look up the weather in Austin, Texas right now. What is it like right now? Is it hot? But they got AC where he at now. They ain't got to worry about it. They got AC now because they got sued to death. They got AC over there now. So, and also he got, like I said, medical conditions. So he's at the right spot for people that got medical conditions and also people that are geriatric, people older. You said Carmelo would be out on 5 to 10 on appeal. They will break it down to manslaughter. If he gets some action in the appeal, right? Yeah, I would never take that back to court. I said, guys, let me cop out, please. And I'll get out, and that is all. I will get out of you guys' face. Let me cop out. Yeah, that's why they have him there for people because he has a medical condition. So that place he's at, the Wallace Pack unit, is for people that it's for um vulnerable inmates that have medical conditions, elderly people, okay, things like that. You said Texas ex felon. You said he did 42, killed the cop, and two, and I don't know what he did. What now? Let me see. Texas ex felon with doctor did 40. He did 42, killed cop, and two in jail, and was out in three. You said Greg Abbott will push the appeal by June 22nd. Daniel 622. God is the. He said, hold up, damn, it's going by. Why can't I see this? Hold on, give me a second. You said God. Hold up. God is in the details. Good brother. Damn, you saying he's in the Lions then? So so you saying they gonna push it? Oh, he had a doctorate degree. Okay. You said he gonna push it real quick, huh? Daniel 622. Yeah, keep saying that, Rich. I like when you say that. Daniel 620. Say something else. You know what I'm saying? Give us something else to think about. Rich. Give us something else. What's up, Shannon? Um, let me see. Let me see what Breon Mitchell's saying. You said fire TDC supervisor because she supported Carmelo. The C's are racist and freedom of speech. Ancestors died for freedom of speech. Say whatever the F we want. Believe in black wealth, helping people. Yeah, we went over that earlier. The lady got fired for something she not something she said, something she typed on Facebook. It was a Facebook post. She didn't say it. She typed it. So she could argue and say she didn't type it. That's what I would have did. I ain't type it. What are you talking about? They said, is it your Facebook? I got hacked. I didn't type it. I ain't type it, man. You said I got your goofy picture. Hold that thumb. I don't know what this person talking about. I think he talking about. I don't know what he talking about. Um, that means he's sweet. But it go back to the candy bar thing. Man, there's a lot of predators amongst us. It's crazy. He just gotta. But where he's at, he should be fine. He's not at no notorious prison. He should be fine where he's at. From the research I've done, he should be fine because that picture right there that you're seeing right there, that's of the Wallace Pack unit. Now, she was saying this lady right here was the one that got fired. She got fired. Mello, he's there he is right there. He'll be able to grow his hair back, by the way. You said Mexican kid Jose Martinez killed by Caucasian Grayson Allison. Mainstream media didn't cover it when it's Caucasian go. I didn't even know about that case at first. You talking about the Snicker bar? Yeah, Gabe put that thing right on Hector's pillow, Pac-Man. The double Snicker bar at that. He was walking around with the Snicker bar like, who put this on my pillow? He was ready to fight right then and there. As soon as he got there, he was ready to go to the hole. As soon as he got there. You want that cornbread? And then Eddie looking at his partner, he said, "Oh, okay, you can have it." He said, "Don't give him no cornbread. Don't do that. Don't give him your cornbread. You want your cornbread?" That's a big dude, man, wanting his cornbread. You know what I'm saying? "Here, man, you can have the cornbread. Here, sure." No, don't give him your cornbread because he gonna keep asking for it. Don't give him the corn. As a matter of fact, he said the Ving Rhames dude, he said this dude sounded like a Rhodes Scholar. Very smart dude. Very smart dude, man. And he used to talk about people cases. He used to like get your paperwork and he used to write motions for people and different things like that. And he used to work in the law library. But it looked like Bing Rames. Craziness. Crazy, man. But he said that the only good thing about Mello case, that's the good news, is that he got an outdate. He said even if the outdate is 35 years, he still got an outdate. He got a possibility of parole though. He got an outdate. He said some people he know, they don't have an outdate. They got life without the possibility of parole plus whatever, plus some. You said, watch out for the dude that bring those swag sandwiches to your door. Well, what is that? That's something new. I never heard of that. What's the swag sandwiches? Yo, people be having stories, man. I don't be believing it. He said, bro, it's true. We're not lying to you. You got predators everywhere. And they prey on the weak. He said, what's gonna happen is, he said, what if somebody come up to you? He tasked me, he said, what if somebody come up to you and say, I like your shoes? What size are those? What you gonna say to him? I was like, give him the size. He said, bro. He started like, yo, no, you can't do that, bro. You can't do that. You can't tell him the size. You can't say thank you that he like your shoes and give him the shoe size number. You can't do that. You supposed to, he said the correct answer is they're your size. What's up? They're your size. What you gonna do about it? Or he said steal off on them. He said that's the correct answer. You said that's the crew that sells sandwiches. And if you can't pay, you he said, and if you can't play, you gotta pay. Wait a minute. That don't sound right. You said that's the crew that sells sandwiches. If you can't, hold on a second. The crew that sells sandwiches. If you can't play, you gotta pay. Or do you mean if you can't pay, you gotta play? I don't know. And what's up with the sandwiches? Are the sandwiches good? Because he said it, man. He was like, the correct answer is they your shoe size. What's up? Or he said, still off on the person. Or whatever you gotta do. Yeah, it's almost like you want your cornbread or something. He said They got different things to do for you. He said, "A- and even in there, nobody cares how big you are either. They don't care how big you are. If they want to see, if they want to test you, they don't know you. Like if you come in there for first, they don't know you. They don't know you from another pen or something like that. He said you gonna get active. He said they even test Big Meech up in there. He heard about. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't in there when they did it, but he heard the story. He got tested up in there and got active with somebody. And he got a notorious name. That's Big Meech. Somebody got active with him. Yeah, they don't give a damn how big you are in there. Nope. And it could be somebody Carmelo size that's gonna test you. Could be somebody his size. So he said, "Yeah, man. Somebody asked about your shoes, man." That's what you see. There you go, Mister God. You got to fight. And he said after that they ain't bother you no more. Ain't that something? I said, "Damn, when you get tested?" He said, "Bro, I got tested, man." You know what I'm saying? He said, "I got tested, man." He said, "I got tested at the phones." This is when they had phones up in there. Now you see everything all digital. So that's all it is. Other than that, he said that, you become friends with people up in there. They just want to know that you be willing to fight, because just in case they need you, because everybody click up. He said, depending on where you from. He said certain places, it's segregated like that, depending on what region you from, especially in the feds. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you from the DMV car, or you from the VA car, or they got different cars and stuff like that. I forget who was telling me that. Damn, I forget somebody notorious they were in prison with. Forget his name. Yeah, can I have your cornbread? You said, can I have your corn cob? And they weren't even serving corn and cob that day. They just want to serve corn. What he mean he wanted his corn cob, man? And what did the dude say? How did the dude respond to when he wanted his corn cob? Yeah, bro, it's crazy. He was telling me that. He said, don't really happen in there like that with people getting violated and stuff. He said, there's people in there willingly doing that. He said, you got guys in there got whole relationships up in there, married, whole relationships. But when they get out, they straight. He said, it's crazy, bro. And you mind your business. You see what they doing, you mind your business. You mind your business. That's it. You didn't see nothing, you ain't hear nothing. So those are things that he might go through, but think he should be okay where he's at. I don't know if the stories are true. Some celebrities like Cardi B, they want to raise millions or they want to donate. This would be the good time to do it. You know, contact the family and donate. If that's how you're gonna do it. I wouldn't make it public though. But I just think about all the other cases we don't know about that nobody's donating to them, and they could be totally innocent. One case in particular is Khalif Browder out of New York City. They stopped him one day thinking that he fit the description of somebody and sent him to Rikers Island. He ain't never been in jail before. And they sent him in population at Rikers Island. Well, he was getting victimized in Rikers Island. to the point where once they let him go and everything was fine, he took his life because he couldn't mentally get over what happened to him in jail. I think somebody violated him in there. He couldn't mentally get over it, and he took his life. Khalif Browder. Yeah, a lot of Texas prison culture is trending on YouTube because you just watched this case. A lot of that stuff is trending right now. But I think he gonna be all right as far as people looking out for him. You and that cornbread. You want your cornbread, Cassius? You want that cornbread? Let me get that cornbread. How about your cornbread? Don't give him your cornbread. That's your cornbread. That's hilarious, man. He said, "What about your cornbread? You want your cornbread? What about your bread?" That goes on too. All that go on. But I would think they're gonna watch him for a little bit. Make sure that don't happen. You want butter on that corn? Nope. I don't want no butter on my cornbread. Nope. Predators up in there. No hardback books. I guess they could turn her into like a what? A weapon. But yeah, that's what we have now. So you said bumping our gums and shit. She take the case pro bono. Use her connections to get him out. That ain't happening. It's not happening. Everybody talking about it. You know, it is what it is. And I don't think it's gonna die down no time soon. People gonna still talk about it, but eventually it'll lose a little bit of steam. But I feel that people still talk about this case. They're not gonna let this go nowhere. But all right, guys, I'll be back. I'm gonna cover something else. But yeah, that's it. We went over the appeals and everything like that. So what he's in for, what he's up against. We'll see what happens. You know, see what happens, man. See what happens. But yeah, it's pretty much it, man. Yeah, unless he mess up. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one.